We want to continue talking about this with Ohio Republican Congressman Warren Davidson. Thank you for being with us. What's your reaction to the president's response to these classified documents being found?
Well, I think my reaction is the Justice Department has to have a uniform standard. It has to treat this the same way for President Biden as it was treating it for Donald Trump. It's too late for that. Obviously, they didn't conduct a raid on any of Joe Biden's properties or anything. And that really shows how excessive the approach was when it came to President Trump. And this reminds me of when Hillary Clinton had sensitive information. Instead of law enforcement taking possession of her server, they said, hey, could you send us what you've got? Go through it and send us whatever you find. And it's the same kind of kid glove approach with Joe Biden. So it's really kind of a different standard. I hope that, we treat this classified information with the proper respect. We classified it for a reason, but we should also look at who has possession of it, the former vice president, current president, the president of the United States. And I think, we shouldn't overstate how significant it is that these kinds of people have it. The problem is, where do they have it, and where did they have it that other people might have had access to, because that becomes more sensitive.
I think that's something that is going to be considered when looking at who was visiting the home of President Biden in Delaware. Your colleague, Representative James Comer, wants to see a visitor log from the property, but is not asking for the same from former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home, where more than 100 classified documents were discovered. Do you agree that that is fair?
Yeah, I think the question is who had access to where, and I think the other part is, President Trump just had a locker full of stuff that he just recently moved out of the White House and moved down into storage in Mar-a-Lago, and was in an ongoing dialogue as part of the Presidential Records Act transition with the National Archives. Joe Biden's had possession of these documents for 6 years at least, since he left the White House. And where have they been? And when you look at the Penn Biden Center, these are handed over for academic research purposes, put to use potentially for study. But currently the Secretary of State came out of that Penn Biden Center. Who had access to it during all those years? It becomes a little different question. And yeah, sure, it's a fair question to say who had access to it, because it is classified. I think the real question is who calls your lawyers when you want to move boxes? So I think there's a lot of narrative going on here, and I question whether we're getting the whole story out of the Biden administration.
But it's interesting to me, and I asked this to our Niall Standage from the Hill last hour. I'm sure there are people wondering, is it possible that the classified documents, whether you're talking about with President Biden or former President Trump, that these are classified but not sensitive documents? And does that change the narrative here?
No, I mean, you still have to treat classified documents. And look, some of these things are top secret, SCI, subcompartmentalized information. That's the highest level security clearance. For practical purposes, there are higher, but it is very sensitive information when you get to the top secret and particularly top secret SCI classifications. But I think either way you look at it, you have to say, are you going to have a Department of Justice that applies the law even-handedly? And no secret, there's a lack of public trust in the Department of Justice for a long time. And this really is undermining the faith in our government. It really makes us look bad as a nation when you have one standard for one politically aligned group and a different standard for another. It also makes us look bad when you have top leaders being targeted by kind of an intelligence apparatus. Are the people that somehow control what gets classified and not classified in a position where they have more power and authority than the president or former vice president of the United States? So there are real questions here about how much power and influence people have over classifications. What's clear is the president of the United States has the legal authority to declassify things. It's not clear that the vice president has that legal authority.
Right, especially for these documents from when he was in a previous office. But I want to get to you. I want to talk to you while we have you about this new law in Ohio. You're a former Army Ranger. Some military families are upset now because this measure shortens the window for mail-in ballots from 10 days after the election to just 4 days. What are your concerns?
Yeah, well, it doesn't just apply to the military. It applies to everyone in Ohio. Previously, Ohio's law required that mail-in ballots be postmarked before the election, and then they had 10 days to get here. And after that, they wanted to wrap up the election and say, well, it didn't make it here. We had to go ahead and close out the count. And so in military families, they did take them into consideration. They can apply earlier for absentee voting than anyone else can. And they have kind of a different postmark standard that takes into account how the military does mail. But the most important thing is in Ohio, you should have a way where it's easy to vote and it's hard to cheat. This came as a big reform that implemented photo ID, including if you want to request an absentee ballot. So there are easier ways for the military to request an absentee ballot than there are for regular citizens.
And it's something that a lot of people are paying attention to. Congressman Davidson, thank you for your time this morning. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.